I'm Richard Spears, one of the managing directors of Spears and Associates, and I'm here today to share with you the newest of our flagship products for Spears and Associates, DrillSource. DrillSource has been several years in the making and is now available to clients at a very low cost subscription. That price will be going up as time goes by, but this is an introductory price. Here is spearsresearch.com, and here's all of the reports that we put out. Today I'm looking at DrillSource. I will click on DrillSource, which is a dashboard, and it looks like this on your computer screen or on your smartphone, your iPad, the objective of DrillSource is to identify every oil field service company working for every E&P company across the U.S. land market. The services that we are currently focused on are cementing, directional drilling, the land contract driller, hydraulic fracturing, and drilling fluids. And we also are preparing for identifying and quantifying who the pipe distributors are for each oil company and who the cased oil wireline companies are for each oil company. But for now, we are pretty complete with all oil companies in every basin for those primary cementing, directional, contract drilling, hydraulic fracturing, and drilling fluids companies. So with DrillSource comes the following. It has files that are the cost index for hydraulic fracturing over time across the across the United States. It also comes with field notes that are associated with activities in the United States, the anecdotes going on. Here's, for example, a comment about altitudes, Northeast business. Here's the impact of Chevron plus Halliburton. Here's a description of frac service companies' E-fleet impact versus diesel impact. Let's take a look at how the product works. And for the product, let's go to a full screen. Here's what you are confronted with. But let's ask the following question. Let's pick the company Mewburn. I would like to know how much Mewburn is spending on all of its services. So we'll come over here to parent. We'll type in Mewburn, select Mewburn. And now we have just Mewburn isolated, that across the nation, Spears and Associates estimates that they will spend $3.2 billion in 2025 on drilling, completing, and producing oil and gas wells. And of that $3.2 billion, that represents 435 wells to be drilled this year at a cost of about $7.4 million per piece. And across the nation, they'll spend about $107 million on cementing, $130 million on cased oil wireline, $618 million on hydraulic fracturing, not quite $100 million on mud, $318 million on pipe, and then a whole bunch of other expenses that will all add up to $3.2 billion. Well, let's have a deeper dive on just one of the regions that the company works in, for example, the Permian Basin. So now I'm just looking at the Permian Basin. In the Permian Basin, they only work in the Delaware Basin. So we are now zeroed in on just the Delaware Basin in the Permian Basin for just Mewburn. And now we see that it's 350 wells, $2.45 billion, and divided in this way. Now we can see that Mewburn in the Delaware Basin divides their cementing between three service companies. They use 9, ProPetro, and Spinnaker. With directional, it's at least 4 directional drillers: Altitude, MS Directional, Striker, and Total. They only use Patterson, and then they split their frac work between Halliburton and NexTier. So now I'm looking at NexTier and I'm thinking, I wonder how big NexTier is, or how big Mewburn is for NexTier in the Delaware Basin. So in that regard, let's have a look at the service company map, where this is all the service companies across the nation. We track hundreds of them now. So let's look at just hydraulic fracturing, let's look at just next here. There's next here. And let's look at just the Delaware Basin. So now we're focused on the Delaware Basin, and we can see that for the Delaware Basin, NexTier generates about $908 million in frac work in 2025. And we can see the Delaware Basin down here for NexTier. So I'd like to know who NexTier's customers are. Let's expand that out, and we can see Chevron, Conoco, Continental, etc. Let's explode that out so that I can see that as a table. And now I can tell that for NexTier, that Chevron is their largest customer in the Delaware Basin. Conoco's next. Continental Resources is after that. Coterra, Jetta, Manti, and then Matador, and then Mewbourne. But look at Mewbourne. This is actually alphabetic, and Mewbourne is $245 million. So if I organize that by size, Mewbourne is actually the largest customer of NexTier, $245 million out of the $900 million that they generate. So Mewbourne is a big customer. It's the largest customer of NexTier. But we also remember, because we looked at Mewbourne before, that they split their business between NexTier and Halliburton. So let's come over here and let's just look not at just at NexTier. Let's look at Halliburton in just the Delaware Basin. And Halliburton is not quite as big as NexTier. I believe that's what we saw in the Delaware Basin. And now let's explode that out. And now we can see that in the Delaware Basin for Halliburton, that Mewbourne is also Halliburton's largest customer. So after Halliburton is Oxy, Matador, Coterra, BP, Vital. So what we're able to see here is that we're able to see who Mewbourne is selecting as their service companies, in this case for frac. You can do the same thing for directional, for cementing, for line contract drilling, for mud. And you can also see the impact of Mewbourne's business on just Halliburton. So we can do that for every service company that we track, and for every operator, which is most operators in the country. We divide it between, we have the Rocky Mountains, we have all the parts of the country. So that is the new DrillSource product line. It is available now. It is deployed via our website. And so please surf over to spearsresearch.com, click on it, sign up, and it will become immediately available. The other thing about DrillSource is this: we update it every day. And so this is a look at 2025, but it's updated every day as better information comes in. I do hope that you'll subscribe to our new service.